now. And another, excuse me while I get my headphones here. I can't hear myself, Jax. Sorry. Oh, there we go. Someone must have turned the monitor down. Angela Bingham probably did that just to aggravate me. Kelly Northcote, you can see her on your screen there right now, and she's been here all afternoon. Bless her heart. And I think Jackson's thinking about putting her on the payroll, I guess. She's been here all afternoon. How you doing?
Well, now I'll get rich, yeah.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's what happened to me and Jackson. We don't know what to do with all this money.
Yeah, you're the moneyed elite, I can tell, yeah.
That's the reason we got all the Rolls Royces parked out front.
That's what that was, yeah.
That's it, yeah. How you doing, young lady? You're running for city council of Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
I am, and I'm doing great, and just out there, every chance I get, weeknights and weekends, just knocking on doors and talking to people and shaking hands and asking them what their concerns are.
Right. And we're going to talk about some of those concerns, too.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Yeah, and I know you've probably talked about them until you're blue in the face, but we'll talk about them just a little bit more, and then after that, we're going to let you go home, let you get a good night's sleep.
I'll take one of your Rolls Royces and just, yeah.
Well, take Jackson's, because I'm kind of attached to mine. I've got that Buick emblem on it, but that's just to sort of, I don't like to flaunt it.
It's very humble of you.
Yeah, sure, that's me, yeah. I'll tell you what we're going to do. Jackson will give Kelly full yield of our time. If we can, we're going to kick this thing off right now. But for right now, yes, my name is Edwin Lee Raymer, and yes, I'm still a private investigator. Welcome aboard.
This is the Edwin Lee Raymer Show with your host, Ed Raymer, on your Good Neighbor station, News Radio, WGNS.
And that's a little rock and roll to kick off your 8 o'clock hour here on Sunday night at WGNS right here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. This is Edwin Lee Raymer Show, and I'm your host, Ed Raymer. And this show is produced at the studios of WGNS, AM 1450, 100.5, 101.9 FM, right here in the heart of the great volunteer state in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Now, you can reach me and Kelly tonight. You can reach Kelly at 615-893-1450. That's 615-893-1450. You can also send us a text to that number, and Jackson will be glad to read it over the air, or give it to me or Kelly. We'll read it if you do not wish to be heard on the air live. And some of you, we understand you're a little shy. You don't want to be. Now, how do you find us? First of all, talk to Angela out in the parking lot. I know you were on with her earlier.
Yeah.
And
that was a fun show.
You lived through. Oh, that's a fun show. Okay, this one's not. Okay. And tune in. You can download the WGNS app and take WGNS with you. Go to wherever you go. Listen whenever you wish. And listen in. I listen to Jason Qualls through the week. He's on around 4 o'clock. Financial coaching advice. And Angela is here with Simplicity at 6 o'clock every Sunday, and her and the ladies there are doing a fantastic job. And, I am biased. I love her to death, and we cut and kid up back and forth. And but I have a feeling with the way I greeted them tonight, I'll be getting a little bit more respect around here, Kelly. And
I think you're right.
You know how to work, the way to a man's heart. Same is true with a woman, too. It's right through their stomach,
You brought us ice cream.
Oh,
you gotta love
my
that.
Goodness.
Yeah.
Hey, I had a friend that owed me a favor.
Well, you thought of us.
No,
though.
I did. Okay,
yeah.
Yeah. One lady said, "Fortunately, I got to eat. I got to finish this before we get home because I'm not supposed to have it." I said, "Man, you talk about honesty in radio. How can you reach us tonight? You can see us tonight. Of course, you can reach us on the good old-fashioned radio at 1450 AM on your AM radio band. That radio is the little square. It's maybe a rectangular device in the dash of your car where you can actually tune us in while you're driving down the road, or at 100.5 or 101.9 FM. And you can download us right now on WGNSradio.com. Listen live. News Radio WGNS on YouTube. We are live. I'm looking at us right now. Bless y'all's hearts having a look at me. So look to the right side of your screen and look at Kelly. You know, it's like one guy said, you know, you realize the camera adds 10 pounds. And he said, okay, Ed, how many cameras are there on you right now? So I've got a lot of friends in this town, in this county. Got a lot of pull here. And there's a number of ways. My wife will listen occasionally. She listens on Alexa. She'll occasionally watch YouTube Live. We're on Facebook Live. There's just so many ways to get it. And if you want to see our older programs where Kelly's been on, you can download us on YouTube. Edwin Lee Raymer. Just type that in. Just type in Edwin Lee Raymer on YouTube and it will pull up. And a lot of the older shows will come up. Now, enough of that. Kelly, what's going on in the political realm?
Well, there is so much going on. There are so many candidates out there running, and we've been knocking doors and talking to people. That's
Right.
my favorite part of campaigning. I love
talking to the people.
I do too.
I would love doing it. I think I've never put my name on a ballot, and thank you for doing it. And by the way, thank you for being here tonight. I know you're tired, and it has been
fine.
hot out there. It's you're approaching 100. You're going to have another week of it, but you're doing the work. You're putting it in, and that's what it takes.
And I'm not doing it alone. You know, it's like I've got a staff that's the backbone of the campaign, and
Right.
they're out there in the heat knocking doors with me. And the last 2 weekends, we've had so many people like come out to volunteer with our team.
Right.
More people than I've seen knocking doors, you know, at one time for a campaign. So I
Who is
feel
managing
really
your?
enthusiastic.
Is Christian managing?
Yeah, he's my
Christian
campaign
Gay.
manager.
Christian,
Yeah.
none better. He lives, sleeps, eats, breathes it. He loves it. He really does, and none better than him. You know, what are you hearing about as you go out from? First of all, I want to say this: we cannot be remiss in what happened yesterday in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Thank goodness our former president, Donald Trump, is fine. Looks like he's going to be okay. A volunteer fireman, lost his life yesterday because of this. Another person, I believe, was wounded. The shooter was removed. I'll put it that way to be kind about it. But we don't have any place in any level of politics for this. There's no sense in this.
There isn't. Yeah. Violence is never a solution. Political violence, especially, it gets in the way of the democratic process. It's just an impediment to civil life.
It certainly is.
And I think that, you know, it's like we've become so polarized, and it kind of ramps up the rhetoric. It ramps up the feelings, the emotions that people have, and you know, to resort to that, it's just an extreme that we should never get to.
No, not at all.
And I think that I've seen people, you know, say that and then blame the other side, and it's something that we really need to make sure that we don't express things violently, that we don't have violent words, we manage our violent tendencies, and that we call people out. It's like, it's more than just not resorting to violence. We're all responsible for ratcheting it down, and we all have to look at our own thoughts and words and deeds and examine them and make sure that we filter out the violent message that we might be sending.
And for me, that's foul language, because I can have a foul mouth. Now, I've done a lot better as I've gotten older, especially being around radio. When you're around a radio station, or as you know, a television station, you used to work at Channel 4, where she won her Emmy, by the way. Yeah. But, you know, when you're around the microphone, you've got to always assume that microphone is on.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
yeah, sometimes what people call foul language is just for emphasis, or, you know, just expressiveness.
Yeah.
But violent violent language can
Yeah.
be different. Just even
I
saying
understand. Yeah.
saying somebody deserves something, or ooh, I'd like to and insert
Yeah,
violent,
I mean, we've all
violent
said
thought
that,
there.
Junior, I'm going to kill you, boy. If you don't straighten up, I'm going to, we've all, we
And-
ingest to our children,
Right.
if you don't straighten up, a damn or a hell is one thing, but, but I try to really watch it, and especially on Facebook, I do, because I post some very, I can post some very controversial things. Well, people say they're controversial. I don't think they're controversial. I think they're just common sense, but they can be interpreted the wrong way.
And you can be passionate and you can be committed without resorting to, violent language, and without demonizing or villainizing
Right.
the other side. It's like you can be passionate and factual and have a statement without countering it with somebody else is bad or evil or has bad intentions. You can just speak to your own. And I've always made a point to make sure to limit my campaigning to being positive, to not, it's like you can state facts about what someone has done and how you're opposed to that or how you are different than that, but never demonizing or villainizing the other side, or even supposing what their motivations are.
Right.
It's like it's a fine line, and I just don't like going negative. I just don't like presenting things
It
in
won't
a
help you or
negative way.
anybody else, And Reverend Martin Luther King said this: if you're going to, and a lot of people forget this, because there was so much civil unrest in the '60s. He said, if you're going to try and advance your cause with violence, you're going to lose.
And
You are ultimately, you might win a little battle here or there, but ultimately you will lose.
and you've opened that door.
That's right.
And people feel it's like once a violent act has taken place, or even violent rhetoric, then people feel justified in returning that same level of violence or more. It's kind of like you
I got to
can't.
one up you.
Right,
Yeah.
eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth leaves the whole world blind and toothless.
Right.
So
Exactly
the
right.
way to stop that is to unplug, to not contribute to that
That's right.
anymore, that rhetoric. So
Okay.
it's never a solution.
And but thank goodness it looks like I really hate it because I hold a special place for firemen. My brother is a lieutenant fireman at the city of Franklin. I mention it all the time, and they do a great job. And here's the thing: when someone calls them, "Hey, my house is on fire," they say, "Well, now are you a Democrat or a Republican?" They what you address,
Exactly.
And lots of times they'll know that before as the phone rings. They know where the call's coming from anymore with technology. But that's terrible. And another person,
is.
I say a lady, I don't know, was injured.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but
I'm
someone
not
else
sure
is
either.
critically injured, as far as the last I read. And whatever their beliefs, whoever they voted for, it's like that's another American citizen. It's another person.
It's another person. It's our
And
neighbor.
They have exactly.
They're our
and
neighbors, right.
They have family. They have
exactly
people
right.
that love them, and it's just an extremely sad situation that
It is.
that had to happen. And even it's just
Okay. Let's move on to
Okay.
your campaign here. You're
All right.
running for city council in
I am.
Murfreesboro here. You along with 4 other people, I believe.
yes,
Four
four
other
other
people.
people. Yeah, the 3 incumbents and another challenger.
And what are you hearing? You say you're talking to a lot of people. What are they hollering about? Or what are they asking about? I say hollering.
Well, one of the biggest concerns people bring up is traffic. Another concern is funding our public schools, making sure our public tax dollars stay with our public schools. The decency ordinance that was passed last year is on a topic on the mind of a lot of people, and honestly, that was the driving force that got me to run for city council. It was misguided. It was unconstitutional. It was passed not at the bequest of a vast array of citizens. Most people didn't think we had a problem, and As a matter of fact, it was kind of passed by. Well, what they explained was the result of emails, but in the ACLU lawsuit that was filed against the city, all but one of the councilman, Mr. Shacklett, didn't vote for it. As a matter of fact, I think he warned them that it was unconstitutional. But there were emails, several from Robbie Starbuck. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he's kind of a conservative instigator.
Okay.
And what I've heard from someone very close to the issue that works with Borough Pride is that a couple of those emails were sent before the Borough Pride event that he was complaining about, and the video that was sent was not even of Borough Pride. It was of another event somewhere else completely.
Right. Okay.
So it, I don't know. It seemed as if it was. It seemed as if there was a different agenda than just listening to constituents.
Sure.
When I went to speak to the city council, when they had open meetings so that people could come and get on the list to speak, I was lucky enough to get one of those slots. But the room was packed with people trying to convince them not to pass that ordinance. So there was clearly, a lot of people that were against it. I was scheduled to speak and got up to say my piece to try to get them to, find some compromise or find rules that everyone could heed to.
Sure.
And when I got up to speak, nobody looked up. It was clear that minds were already made up.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That
sure.
will allow you to come speak.
But that's it.
We're not going to listen.
We're not going to listen. Sure.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of that going on. People hear, but they're not listening.
Yeah. So if you aren't there to listen to the constituents, because I realized at that point, I had no voice. I had no voice in my city government. That
Right.
everyone else that was there to speak had no voice in their city government either.
We are hearing so much of this from the federal level right on down to local county government.
Yes. Yeah. That
it
you're
seems
following
that
the
these
agenda.
politicians are just doing whatever they want to. I mean, here we go again. 80% of the people want some type of common sense gun control.
Mm-hmm.
You and I have been over this discussion before. You and your dad, me and my family, all of us have guns, own guns, all that.
Right.
But you got to use some common sense.
Right. And even law enforcement doesn't want permitless carry.
No. No, not at all.
And I mean, it's clear from the numbers that isn't serving our state well. I don't think it was an outcry. Yeah, it was an outcry of people that wanted that, and the same thing with the decency ordinance. So it was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back. It's like that impacted me and the community and my family in a very personal way. My son felt unwanted in his own hometown and moved out of state. So
Understood.
yeah. I felt very strongly about it and
I will
decided
say
I needed
this:
to
I've
step
talked
in.
to 2 or 3 people where their children have. One has even left this country.
Yeah, that was
It's
discussed.
getting that bad. We're going to go
Yeah.
to our first series breaks. Kelly Northcutt is with us. She's running for Murfreesboro City Council. Jackson's on the board. My name's Ed Raymer. Stay with us. More after these good words from our local sponsors. Stay with us. Hello, everyone. It's Ed with Private Investigations in Middle Tennessee. You know, if you just need someone checked out on a background check, tag them a run, or if you need someone full-fledged to follow, give us a call. You can reach me at 615-390-7219. That's 615-390-7219, or check out our website at piofmt.com. That's piofmt.com.
I felt so alone, scared, angry, full of self-pity. I just wanted to die, so I took another drink. Then I heard about AA and went to my first meeting. The people there talked about those same feelings. I was no longer alone. They gave me help to stop drinking and hope to start living. Alcoholics Anonymous, it works. Look us up. Check your phone book, newspaper, or aa.org.
Hey, this is Ed, everybody. Want to tell you about a sponsor of ours. We've got Complete Yard Care. Their slogan is, "We do it all." Low maintenance landscape design. retaining walls, tree removal, stump grinding, lawns cut, mulching, landscaping. Now you can reach them at 615-785-0384. Or you can look them up on the web at CompleteYardCareTN.com. They have a 5-star ranking on Google. That's Complete Yard Care. We do it all.
Go to J. Mullins Jewelers and check out their collection of reactor watches. They're located at 352 West Northfield Boulevard right here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. And also custom-made jewelry. If you want it, they can make it for you. Also gifts for any and all occasions. Weddings, graduations, family reunions, anniversaries, all of it. That's J. Mullins Jewelers, 352 West Northfield Boulevard right here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. And we are back. Ed Raymer is here with you. Jackson's on the board. Miss Kelly Northcutt's with us. She's running for Murfreesboro City Council. We've got a caller on the line. Caller, please go ahead.
Mr. Raymer, how are you?
Hey.
Well, hello. Is this Jeff?
Yeah, how you doing, guys?
Doing good.
How you doing, Jeff?
Mr. Raymer, I ran into somebody running for office this weekend, and the person told me that the first day of early voting, they had around close to 750 people voted.
Ooh.
Right. Our early voting started Friday.
Friday.
Yeah.
Friday. I don't know about Saturday. I know a friend of mine went and voted Saturday. Because he said he works a lot during the week, and he can't do a lot during the week, so he went ahead and voted Saturday.
Yeah, I told the wife the other night, I said, we have got to go vote next week when we get this out of the way while this hot weather's here.
Yep.
And
you don't have to stand in line.
Jeff, I'm gonna tell you something. These politicians eating it up. I brought this lady something from a little treat from Sonic. Man, she just sat down and started just nibbling. You know.
She already ate enough barbecue. She wants some dessert. She already ate enough
There you go. Yeah.
Oh, she wants dessert. She don't want that barbecue. You don't give her no barbecue stuff. She
And nothing's better than ice cream on a hot day.
That's right. I mean, that thing on Mountain Time, you get to the studio, you'll worry about the Mountain Time you get there. But what I want to say, you guys, if you ever talk about the Trump situation, and of course it's horrible. I mean, you talk about all the other ones that's happened down through Gabby Giffords and the Scalise. And,
Oh yeah. That's hit both sides.
I mean,
Yeah.
Nancy Pelosi's husband almost got killed. Somebody went in their house, almost killed him. Just about killed him. You know, but I don't know if you saw here recently the Covenant shooting, in Nashville. The judge decided not to release the writings of the shooter.
Yeah.
And,
Right.
And they're in the property of the victims' families now, so it won't be released or what she wrote and all
Right.
the stuff, what she done and stuff. So that was a good thing. But now and now they're blaming people. Now they say that you called Trump Hitler for 3 years, so that's somebody. It's a nut. That's why, like one guy said on our earlier show today, said I'm not surprised it happened when you called Trump Hitler for 3 such and such years. He wasn't surprised. He thought it would happen. That he's not surprised it did. Not this. Well, I'm thinking, when you tell Biden he's too old to be president, you tell him he's too old and he does stuff and he does things he does. I mean, Trump's not no spring chicken. He's 78. He's not 58 or 48. If he was.
Yeah.
I'm glad he's okay and everything, but
I think there's been a lot of finger pointing on both sides at
Yeah,
how we
I think
got
you're
here.
right, Kelly. I'll agree with that.
no,
Yeah.
it ain't just the one. Both sides have done it. But I mean, it's just the way that we are right now. I'm hoping like a Biden was on tonight for a few minutes, and he pretty much nailed. It's just not acceptable. And
Right.
He had a good little address tonight. The wife and I watched it before I left. One reason I was running late getting up here when I came up to be with Kelly, and but I wanted to watch it. It wasn't about 6 or 7 minutes, but he did a fantastic job.
And
I thought he did a good job too. And then one of them on Fox said, "Well, it wasn't good enough. And people want to hear from Trump."
well, there's going to be finger pointing all around to say how we got here. The point is, this is where we're at, and what are we going to do now?
Right.
I know what we're going to do something about it. That's the biggest thing. But I'll just say, just people need to get out. And I went to the forum Thursday night. It was real good.
Yeah.
I mean, all the candidates, all the Democrats were there, a couple of Republicans, but the incumbents weren't. But it was real good turnout. And like I said, people just need to get out and vote if they vote early or vote election, they need to get out and vote. I mean, it's really important. I mean, people fight and die in this country and other countries to do it. I mean, there's countries that I know that I've seen where people have a little red mark ink when they go vote. I mean, they fight and die for it. So we need to, exercise our rights and go vote. I don't care how you vote, just as long as you vote.
Yeah, I
Jeff,
encourage
thank
everyone
you.
to
Thanks,
as well.
And guys, I enjoy your show, and Emily, happy anniversary again. Take care.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. And Jeff, thank you for last week. I appreciate that. Okay, Jeff Neal. Anyway, a regular caller here at WGNS and a good friend of WGNS. He's been a good friend of this broadcast and friend of mine since I got here. And I never did know why, but he always was, and I certainly appreciate it. Kelly, how do people contact you? I always seem to miss that. And let's talk about it right now while we're here.
Oh, yeah. You can go to kellynorthcutt.com. That's Kelly, and Northcutt with 2 T's on the end. And that's my website. There's a link so you can contact me. Email is info@kellynorthcutt.com. So that it's pretty easy to remember. Yes, just send a message if you want to follow my socials. There's links to them on there, so you can message me. Social media, I'm available out there for anybody to get a hold of.
I appreciate you because when I call, lots of times you'll answer your phone. If you don't, I know you're either in a meeting or a forum or something, and I appreciate it. This lady is very accessible, folks. She's not hiding from you, okay? And
I think that dialogue, that you start with voters, during the campaign,
right?
You need to continue that. It's like you have to be plugged into your constituents. You have to be plugged into the community.
True.
It's like I'm trying to remember the term that Christian came up with. I'm a career citizen. It's like I'm not a developer.
Right.
I'm not coming at it from a perspective that
the law or real estate or whatever the case
so
may be.
I'm not doing this to enrich me or my buddies or
certainly
whatever the
not doing it for the money.
motivation or even it's like sometimes it's like I think if you have a developer mindset, it's like that old saw that when the only tool you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. So that looks like the way to solve every problem.
Yeah, right.
So I'm coming at it from a citizen perspective.
Yes,
I've lived here for 26 years. The city has changed and grown a lot. There's still a lot about Murfreesboro that I fell in love with when I was going to college here, and the reason I moved back here to raise my kids. But we have a lot of challenges. We're still growing. We've been growing even when the economy was worse and lots of other places were struggling. It's like people were still moving here, and the reasons that they moved here are because this is a good place to live. We've got good schools. We've got the Greenway, thanks to Bart Gordon. We've got great parks and recreation. There's just so much that's attractive about here. But we need to make sure we keep it that way.
We were here in 1980s when we came here.
Yeah.
And back in the last century. And
It was.
doesn't it make me sound?
It makes me feel
back
old.
in
Stop.
the last century
I
when
remember.
but
Rode our buckboard wagon.
Rode our buckboard. The Raymers rode their buckboard. Oh, Hills, Beverly Hills. You come, Mamaw sitting in the rocking chair,
Listen
But
to the
anyway,
story about a man named Ed.
oh, that'll be enough. Thank you, my Emmy Award-winning friend. It wasn't for singing you got that Emmy, was it?
That was just cruel.
Hey, but we got here. I've told the story so many times. Down here in 1980, I was still living at home then, And a few months later, they announced Nissan was going to be built, and man, the rocket took off.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been going great guns ever since. And we've hit some dips and nips here and there, and some slips here and there. But for the most part, Rutherford County. And then, later, Saturn was announced, and we became the hub of this. And a lot of good local politicians, and yes, even some on our state level, were responsible for this, saying, hey, we got a good thing here. We're within driving distance to, what was it, nearly 50% of the population, whatever the figure is.
Yeah.
People like that, Now, we've got some now wishing it would slow down and all that, and I understand. I understand. But, the job you're running for, you're going to be hit with this day one. And I was reminded, thinking, as I was coming in, and we live out South Church going past Indian Hills. Okay. Now, I don't know that this happened there, but it was somewhere. And city council person, whoever it was, man or woman, was called and said, I have a complaint to file. I said, okay. And talked it over and said, well, you'd need to send local police out. No emergency, nothing like that. So within a day or two, police went out and said, yes, ma'am, we had a thing from your city councilman that you had a complaint, and we've come to see what it is. Said, well, there are golf balls in my backyard. And he said, ma'am, you live on a golf course. Now, this is what you're going to be facing. This was the truth. It was the truth. Said, I know, but they're coming in my backyard. Said, ma'am,
we will deploy the force field. Yeah.
live on a golf course. I mean, and some people, and I know she was upset.
Yes.
But so, you'd wonder, why did you move there? I mean, and let's face it, for example, Indian Hills, those houses are not exactly they never have been given those houses away. You can afford to live a lot of places.
Yeah.
That never made any sense. It's like living next to the ocean. There's a lot of sand out there in my backyard. No kidding. Yeah, there's an ocean down there, man.
Yeah, that would be an issue that would cause some consternation.
Yeah, that's going to be some of the no-win situations you get into, and that's going to happen.
Yes.
You've been around this thing a while.
Yeah, and it's like I'm sure that I won't be able to immediately solve every problem that's called upon, but that. Being available to people, even if you get calls like that, it's important, because everybody needs to have a voice in their city government. Everyone needs to feel heard.
Sure.
And
agreed.
Yeah, and
right.
you can tactfully address the situation, even if it's something like that. But it's like. There are no small problems, It's like in a city.
If it's a big problem to them,
yes,
it's a problem.
Right, and that's not to say I can solve it, but if I listen to you, and we can do what we can to address it. Well, I think that's the most you can promise somebody. But if you're hearing the same issue over and over, then that's something that has to be addressed. And sometimes some of the most obvious challenges aren't things that have an easy solution.
No, they're not.
It's like some of the issues I've been hearing from people are the concern about housing costs rising. About rents going up, and not being able to afford homes because the home prices are going up.
Yeah, what is an affordable house anymore? They're talking about we need affordable housing. Okay.
Yes. Well,
I built houses, I know.
The standard
and it's a lot higher now than it was when Raymer Brothers was building houses.
Right. So are people's take-home pay, but the standard is it shouldn't be more than 25% of your income is what you should pay for housing.
Okay.
I think there's a lot of people that are stretching that limit and way past that.
Yeah.
And some of that, another, at one of the forums, I believe it was Councilman Wade said you can't just, you can't just expect to make housing affordable just because you want it.
Sure.
Well, of course not. That's not how the world works. That's not how government works. That's not how the city council works. But the point is, it won't happen unless you do something about it.
Exactly right.
So you find, search for more creative solutions. You search for places that have found a way to answer that challenge. It's a big challenge. We can't control, the economy of the nation. We can't control the economy of the state. But the thing is, our unemployment rate is really low.
Right.
Our wages have been going up. So what we need to make sure is that if there are things we can do to mitigate the rising housing costs, that we can do those, and we look for those solutions and don't just say we can't do anything about it.
Right.
We can. There are zoning things you can do. I believe it was Representative Sparks who asked for a study to find out about the cost influence of impact fees, because we recently passed that in the city, and I think the county is looking at impact fees. And I think the answer he was expecting was that's going to make housing costs way too high, but I think it was TASER, and I'm trying to remember what that stands for. I think it's the Tennessee Agency for Intergovernmental Communication.
I do not know. I don't know.
Anyway, it's
sorry,
intergovernmental communications.
Yeah,
It's,
okay.
Yeah. So they did the study and found that in actuality, the developmental impact fees only make the cost of housing rise like 1% or less.
Okay.
That's pretty insignificant. I mean, it's a lot when you're making your down payment. It might feel like, a little bit, but a 1% cost increase on a house is not a make or break. But that there were certain zoning regulations that you could change that would have a much bigger impact on lowering the cost of housing.
Sure.
They even offer state programs that we could take advantage of. I'm not sure we're taking advantage of them now. I'm positive we're not.
Right.
But they offer things called land banks, where you collect like unused or abandoned properties, and then you offer those to developers at 0% interest.
Right.
The financing, buying the land and the financing of it is a huge part of a developer's initial investment.
That's where it starts.
Exactly.
Sure.
So if you can offer that, you have an abandoned lot, and we have that, and you offer it at 0% financing, and with the understanding that they have to build lower cost or middle range housing or higher density. You build a couple duplexes or a cottage court, which is like smaller little houses that face a court. They're adorable, and it's a nice way to mix in higher density housing into an older established neighborhood. But those homes cost less because of the financing that you've offered the developer. So they make more money back because it's higher density, and they don't have to spend as much up front. And so what you've done is you've created more affordable housing. You've created housing in that middle range for starter homes so people can move out of apartments. You've created an opportunity to build like a small apartment complex in one lot, and you increase the number of apartments out there. We have like 90% occupancy rate in apartments. I think Sean Wright said we don't want more apartments, but we need more apartments. If we have 90% occupancy rate, then people can charge more because it's a supply and demand thing. So if we have more supply, then they're not going to be able to keep raising your rent as much because there's going to be more options for you, and they know that. So one way that we can control that is to get creative with that, use those state programs that we can take advantage of, and that helps the developers, and it helps the citizens that live here from getting priced out of their neighborhoods.
And another thing, and this happened in our neighborhood, homes that were being built, and mom's got a car, dad's got a pickup truck. That's the size of the parking space, the concrete space to park.
Yeah.
Well, now the kids have gotten older.
Yeah, they get driver's
and
license.
And they're driving. And I can take you out there tonight, and there's a number of cars parked on the street. Now, there's a lot of people that raise Cain about that. I don't.
Yeah.
Because, our lot was big enough. We had plenty of room for the kids to park, no problem. But there are some people that can't. And I understand. You have codes regulations and you have all that. You can't take a 2-bedroom house and have 14 people living in it. And that's somewhere where city government may have to get involved, or your codes inspectors, and say, look, we can't do this. you know.
Well, yeah, and if it's
yeah.
you know, multi like a larger unit, it's
Right.
like you've got to provide for parking for that
You're
as
going to
well.
have to,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
people have to understand that's part. This, you know,
Yes.
we've all got to play by the rules,
Yes.
and that unfortunately, and I don't mean to be the, you know, the stick in the mud, but you know what I'm saying. Sometimes there are times that you have to, like you said, there'll be decisions you have to make that say, you know, I'm sorry, Mr. and Mrs. Smith or whatever, but we're going to have to make this decision, and you're going to be, you know, I've watched city council meetings, I've watched county committee. You know, that's my girl, that's Kelly. Tell him, Kelly. And 5 minutes later, you know, she's just silly. That's the stupidest answer I ever heard in my life. That's politics. That's
Oh,
what
yeah.
it is.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to do that. I'm not saying I'm going to do you that way, but I had a couple. I had one. One city councilman years ago said, and I forget his name. It escapes me right now. And I said, "Well, how's it going?" He said, "Well." Said, "Ed, I'll tell you," he was on the Murfreesboro City Council. Said, "Well, you got some people happy and some people mad." I said,
Yeah.
"I've cussed you and I've hugged. I could have hugged your neck, all in the same showing. You know, I mean,
Yeah, I like-
So
yeah.
it's a.
I like
you
to say
gotta
that
just take the bitter with the
you'll
sweet.
never agree with everything a politician does unless
no.
unless you're the politician. Right? And sometimes not even then. You know, sometimes it's like you've got to make decisions based
Right.
on the rules as they exist, and you know, if you want to change the rules, that's a separate process.
Sure.
But you know,
Sure.
yeah, you've got to enforce the laws and ordinances, or make a change through the channels that you have. So sometimes, you know, I'm not even gonna agree with the decisions that have to be made, but to apply them fairly to everyone and to listen to the constituents and, you know, actually follow the law, follow the Constitution,
That's
that would
exactly
be a
right.
refreshing change. Yeah. Because that applies equally to everyone, and you can't pick and choose.
Well,
Yeah, who?
and is it not even more true, and I've said this many times, in state, local government, county government, because you folks don't have the ability to print money.
Yeah.
You must work within certain parameters.
Oh,
You must.
yeah, I mean, we
say,
have
"Hey,
the budget."
We simply can't afford to do this, you know. Whereas the federal government, start the presses, guys.
Yeah.
You know, just something. It's not that simple, but
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, we have the basic pool
you
of
have
funds
a
that we
certain
have,
pool,
and
and
we
that's
have
it.
to make
Right.
those choices. And
Right.
some of that, you know, you just rely on the priorities of the person that you're voting for. And my priority will always be the constituents, and not an agenda that's passed down by the governor or by, you know,
Sure.
someone else. If you're not listening to the constituents, then you're not doing your job. You're not serving the purpose that you're there for.
We're going to go to our last series of breaks when Jackson gets in here. What's next on your plate? What do you got going this week? I mean,
I don't think we have another event set up this week, but we'll be out knocking on doors probably midweek and then on the weekend as well. And if anybody wants to come along and join, it's a party atmosphere. It's hot out there, but
and
we're all in it together.
anyone in the city of Murfreesboro is eligible to vote. It doesn't make any difference where you live.
That's right.
They can vote for you. Now,
It's an
obviously, my wife
at-large-
and I cannot. We're outside in the county.
Yeah.
But if you live in the city, ladies and gentlemen, vote for this lady. It would be a feather in your cap. I'm telling you.
And I'll be there for you. Yeah.
Right.
Anyone in the city limits, they're all at-large seats. You
Right.
can vote for up to 3, but you don't have to. If you, you know, if there's somebody else that you like and support, you can vote for them. But if you want to just do a one-shot vote for me, you can do that.
Understood.
So you don't have to vote for all 3, especially if you don't know anything about the other candidates.
Very good.
So it can be just a one-shot. And early voting started last Friday, and it continues through the 27th. You can vote at any of the early voting locations. And the election is August 1st.
That's the big day.
And Rutherford County, and that includes, you know, the city of Murfreesboro elections, You can vote at any of the polling locations, no matter where you live. So you don't
Sure.
have, if you work in Laverne or Smyrna and you want to go,
At
during your
lunch
lunch
or
break,
whatever,
yeah.
you can do it. My wife loved it.
Yeah.
She could go because she worked all the way down in Ingram. She was in Laverne.
Yeah.
She could go at lunch and go vote.
Highly encourage early voting, and there are early
Yes,
voting
Alan
locations.
Farley and his
in-
people have done a fantastic job of what they're doing over there.
Yeah.
It's made it so easy. We're going to go, Kelly, to our
Yeah.
last section of breaks here.
Okay.
Jax is on the board, and we'll be back with you right after this. You listen to the Edwin Lee Raymer Show, and I'm your host, Ed Raymer. Back with Kelly right after this. Stay with us. Hello, everyone. It's Ed with Private Investigations in Middle Tennessee. You know, if you just need someone checked out on a background check, tag them a run, or if you need someone full-fledged to follow, give us a call. You can reach me at 615-390-7219. That's 615-390-7219, or check out our website at piofmt.com. That's piofmt.com.
I felt so alone, scared, angry, full of self-pity. I just wanted to die, so I took another drink. Then I heard about AA and went to my first meeting. The people there talked about those same feelings. I was no longer alone. They gave me help to stop drinking and hope to start living. Alcoholics Anonymous, it works. Look us up. Check your phone book, newspaper, or AA.org.
Hey, this is Ed, everybody. Want to tell you about a sponsor of ours. We've got Complete Yard Care. Their slogan is, "We do it all." Low-maintenance landscape design, retaining walls, tree removal, stump grinding, lawns cut, mulching, landscaping. Now, you can reach them at 615-785-0384. Or you can look them up on the web at CompleteYardCareTN.com. They have a 5-star ranking on Google. That's Complete Yard Care. We do it all.
Go to J. Mullins Jewelers and check out their collection of reactor watches. They're located at 352 West Northfield Boulevard right here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. And also custom-made jewelry. If you want it, they can make it for you. Also gifts for any and all occasions. Weddings, graduations, family reunions, anniversaries, all of it. That's J. Mullins Jewelers, 352 West Northfield Boulevard right here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Thank you, Jackson. Appreciate it. All right. And thanks to all of our sponsors, Complete Yard Care, thank you. Jay Mullins, Tim, Michelle, all of you out there, Garrick, all of you at Jay Mullins over on Northfield Boulevard, thank you so much. Long-time sponsor of our broadcast. Just all I can ever say is thanks. Thank you so much, Andy, for agreeing to sponsor this broadcast. And we want to give people, I've always wanted to give people, since I started doing these type shows, this broadcast an alternative, a reasonable alternative. And ladies and gentlemen, there's no better alternative than the reasonable alternative sitting right here in front of me with Kelly Northcutt. Kelly, thanks again for doing this. Thank you for running.
Oh, thank you.
Because it's a lot of work.
It is. Yeah.
That it is. It's a lot of work.
It would have been a whole lot easier to just sit home in the cool air and watch Netflix. But
I know.
I just kind of felt driven to make a change. And,
Right.
you kind of sit there and you think somebody ought to do something. And then, if nobody else steps up, it's like, well, I guess I got to be that somebody. So I'm willing to, raise my head up. And sometimes that'll get, sometimes it gets difficult. And it's time consuming, and I expect it will be when I win, but I'm willing to do it because I think it needs to be done. There's another, like I said, the three incumbents are running. Bill Shacklett's a reasonable man. He's the only person that voted against that decency ordinance. That
I was just going to ask you about that and the books that have been pulled off the shelves,
library shelves. Yeah,
which is totally. I don't care who's listening, and some of those people on there are my friends. One of them I talked to this afternoon. It's totally ludicrous when you're pulling off the book, To Kill a Mockingbird.
Yeah, I don't think that was in the recent thing, but yeah, that's one that is a frequently banned book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, man.
Yeah.
You know, we're reading some of these books. My wife and I, we're older than y'all are, and when we were kids in school, I said, did this hurt our education or our background or our relationship or something? Because I don't know if it did.
No, that's a wonderful
I guess
book.
we're just two messed up people, you know.
There's a lot of books that challenge one's critical thinking, that make you
I
think
agree.
critically, and for that to be threatening to someone, I think reveals a lot more about them than it does the book.
Yeah, you're not like this person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm not like. Thank God, there's a lot of people who aren't like me either.
yeah.
You didn't have to agree with that, but I mean, but I'm serious. I mean,
if we were all the same, that'd be a boring world. I think it's like the
my
fact
goodness.
that we're
Yeah.
a diverse multitude, I think, is our strength.
Right.
And I think we need civil discourse. We need to be able to disagree and still find the humanity in another person. And if I'm lucky enough to be elected, I intend to represent the whole populace of Murfreesboro. That doesn't mean that you had to vote for the same person for president that I did. You don't even have to vote for me. You can be diametrically opposed to me, and I still care that you'll have clean water and garbage pickup and good schools for your kids.
Yeah, I was talking to Kurt Wade, a good friend of ours, and we were talking, when someone calls, the last thing, hey, are you a Republican or a Democrat?
Yeah.
It makes no difference.
No,
We're
at large.
Especially true
Yeah.
in a smaller semblance of governments, whether you be a county commissioner or a city councilman.
We need to be answerable to all of them.
And, when we built our house in 97, 98, whenever it was, I think 98, at that time, Murfreesboro, or Rutherford County, I'm sorry, we were out in the county, they had an impact fee. At that time, things were different then. Of course, we all know they've changed. And it was like $1,500 or $2,000. I said, okay, got to pay it. We got to pay it. This is what we pay for being here. You know.
Yeah, because that means, there's going to have to be, roads, there's going to have to be, infrastructure. And that's not just like water and sewer lines, but infrastructure includes our firefighters and fire stations and police and EMTs. It's like that's part of the infrastructure that I think it gets overlooked a lot when all people are talking about is like paving roads and widening them. It's like it's impressive how much we've spent to do that, but it's like we need to make sure that the people that we hire to keep us safe and to make it a good community to live in, so when you call that they're going to show up and quickly and be there to serve the community. It's like that's part of our infrastructure too, and that's part of what those developmental impact fees go towards is to make sure that the infrastructure that is part of city government, that's our first responders, that's infrastructure too.
And for me and you, and I guess it's boring for some of us that know, but I think I'll just shut the government down. Okay, well, how did you get here tonight?
Yeah, that's just
insane.
I
drove on a road. No kidding.
Who paved that road? Yeah.
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 And when you tell them shutting down the government, the first thing we need to do, we'll need to shut off your lights because that's TVA. Brought about by FDR, I might add, in the New Deal, which gave us, I think, Social Security.
Yes.
President Johnson, under a Democrat, he was a Democrat, of course. President Johnson gave us Medicare, Medicaid. The list can go on and on under these wonderful people.
Yes.
Now, I'm getting political now. But
interstate highways and state highways.
That started
and local,
under President Eisenhower, I believe.
Yeah.
And, I think it was Mamie or Lady Bird that didn't like all the signs out on the interstate. I think it was Lady Bird, wasn't it?
Yeah, she had the beautification.
Had the
project.
beautification thing.
Yeah.
Didn't like all the
I gotta agree with her.
All the advertising. I've got to the point. I think maybe
I
Bird
think she
had
was onto something
I think she
there.
had that, because now they're digital. And goodness knows what it costs to put a message on one of those. So I'm sure you may know.
Actually, it's less expensive because you don't have all the production and printing to put it and keep it up for a certain month, so you can change
Is
it.
it right?
Yeah, so it changes. You notice it's like there's 3 or 4 in the space of the time you drive by
yes.
it. Yeah, so that means
agreed.
it's cheaper per
Right.
per view. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And you don't
All right.
have the production costs. It's just
I wonder if I put
uploading.
I wonder if I put my face on that thing, more people would tune in. Wouldn't that be great? You
it
drive to
could
work
cause
every morning.
accidents. I don't know. We want to address the traffic problems, Ed. We don't.
What a good-looking man, you know. I had a girl tell me the other day. I told her, said, "You must be," said, she said, "You remind me of my grandfather." Okay, it couldn't just be her dad.
Yeah,
it had
yeah,
to be her
that you-
grandfather. Said-
I'm sure that
said,
was
because you
a
remind
hit
me.
to the ego.
I said, "Why is that?" So well, you talk like him. Said, "But you look a lot like him." I said, "He must be an incredibly handsome man." And she just giggled and chuckled and laughed and walked off. I said, "Wait a minute."
Was that a confirmation?
I don't know. You know.
You can just think whatever you want to think, since she didn't answer.
No, you cannot think what you want to think. I want you to think what I think. Oh,
Sound like
me.
you're in politics.
No, that's yeah, I am. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
trust me. Yeah, really, trust me.
Oh, see, that's
mate.
that's something you don't want to hear. Yeah.
Do you think at times democracy can be messy?
Oh, I think it's messy by design.
Yeah,
You know,
I know.
just having one person make every decision, that's clean and neat and, structured. But
know.
democracy, when you got to get input from everybody
Mm-hmm.
and you have to have some kind of consensus and you have to get a majority of people to agree and you have to make a compromise, that's hard. It's work. But it's worthwhile work. It's
Right.
like you can't grow tomatoes without digging some dirt. It's worth what you put into it.
Well, you can't, as my good friend Jack Nicholson always said, you can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs.
There you go. That was pretty
We're
good.
going to get out of here in a couple of minutes. Kelly, I wish you the very best. Early voting has started. Mm-hmm. August 1st, is that on a Thursday?
I
or
believe it is, which is a
normally I
weird
think
day
everything's
for an
on a
election.
Tuesday.
Yeah, but it's on
and-
a Thursday.
Well, hopefully, then it will cool off a little bit.
I'm not counting on it. It's the 1st of August.
I know it's
Yeah.
the 1st of August, July and August, and even September anymore here is pretty hot.
So make a
Middle
plan.
Tennessee.
Go vote early. You can
Right.
be in and out. It's like 5 minutes, and that's the time it takes to park too.
Believe
so
me.
Make a plan. Go early. Take your friends with you. This last Friday, the first day of early voting, we met a whole bunch of people at City Cafe. Had some good biscuits and gravy, and then
Yeah.
we all walked over and did early voting on the first day. So make it a fun thing. You can just
and,
get
I
together
would
with
say
folks.
something else. If you can, take your kids with you.
Yes, I
Show
always
them
did that.
what this process is all about.
Yeah, show
You know,
them that it's important to you.
That's exactly
Yeah,
right.
and model that behavior, and it'll
It's
be
a couple
important
of
to them.
minutes till we're going to get out of here. Tell them how to get a hold of you, and we're going to be gone. Going to move out and make room for our next operation that's coming.
All
in
right,
here at 9 o'clock. Kelly.
kellynorthcutt.com. That's my website. There's it links to my social media. You can message me. You can send me an email, info@kellynorthcutt. Let me know. And if you want to help us knock doors, I would love to have you join us. I'll even give you cold water, so you'll be out there, because I don't know a lot of rich folks, but with some elbow grease and sweat, we're making it happen.
I'm seeing your signs. I love you to death. Good luck to you. Whatever
Thank
you
you,
need, I'm
Ed.
a phone call away. Jackson, thank you. Good job on the board. And from WGNS, this is Ed Raymer for the Edwin Lee Raymer Show. And I'll tell you what, till next Sunday at 8 o'clock, I'll catch you down the road. Take care.
Now, here's your Rutherford weather forecast.
Tonight, partly cloudy skies and a low of 73, with a chance of showers and thunderstorms by early tomorrow afternoon, sunny and a high of 100. We'll see a chance of showers and thunderstorms taper off by Monday evening. I'm meteorologist Patrick McMillan on News Radio WGNS. Right now, it's